So a few years ago I made a video about the top 5 beginner woodworking projects, and a lot of you liked watching that video. It did very well. One of the items that I mentioned in that video was making stools. Today we're going to be making this stool. Anybody can throw together a couple 2x4s, but this uses 2x6s and is a little bit more classy, a little bit more decorative, and something that you can keep in your house and not just bare wood. It's very easy to make. It can be made with simple tools. Let's get started. Let's go. We're going to start at the miter saw. The miter saw and the table saw are really the only 2 tools you need to complete this project as far as making the cuts. I'm going to cut 3 of them down to 16 inches long. I'm going to cut 2 of them down to 10 inches long and 2 of them down to 15 inches long. This can be done with 2 2x6 by 8. The next stop is the table saw. We're going to set our fence first to 5 1/4 inches wide. We're going to cut the one side, one sliver off of all these pieces. After that gets done, we will set it to 5 inches wide, cut the other side off. The whole point in doing this is to eliminate the roundovers on each sides of these boards. We can now take our 16-inch long pieces, kind of set those aside for now, and we're going to work with our 2 15-inch long pieces and our 2 10-inch long pieces. And basically we just need to glue them edge joint to edge joint like this and flush on one side. So you should almost have this stair step pattern with a 5-inch gap right here. We're just going to glue these 2 together, do the same with the other 2 pieces. You can use a mechanical fastener, you can use a biscuit if you would like. Personally, I'm just going to use wood glue and clamp them together. It's going to be strong enough to hold it. I'm going to use Titebond 3 wood glue for this. Certainly not necessary. You can go the cheaper option and do Titebond Original or Titebond 1. I'm just opting to use this because it'll dry a little bit quicker. Nice even spread here. If there's a little bit of squeeze out, that is fine. I'd rather try to prevent as much as that as I can though, because any squeeze out that you have, we will have to work on sanding off at a later step. And we'll get those lined up perfectly here in just a second. Let's go ahead and do the other piece. I am going to put all of these in the same clamps, but notice they're 2 different assemblies. There's no wood glue on here. I'm just using it so I can put all these in the same set of clamps. All right, let's get these lined up pretty close to perfect and tighten her down. Okay, we're now going to let this dry. While those are drying, we are going to take 2 of our 16-inch long pieces, do the same thing, glue those together in a different set of clamps in my case. We will now let this dry as well. Okay, the glue is completely dry. We're going to get everything out of the clamps, and I'm going to sand everything down just to get some of the glue squeeze out cleaned up, as well as ensuring that all of these joints are perfectly smooth and flush to each other. And I also want to be able to sand off this ink that the sawmill puts on there with the grade stamp, because that's ugly. And it is worth mentioning that since this is construction grade lumber, it is SPF, spruce pine fir. I think this is a fir. Anyways, it's just a very soft wood, so make sure when you sand, you go kind of quick. Don't leave your sander in one spot for too long, because since it is so soft, it will sand off a lot of material very quickly and leave an indentation in your material. Okay, now that everything is sanded, I'm going to take our little L-shaped pieces and set those aside. We're going to take this glued up piece as well as this piece, so the 16-inch long pieces, and head over to the router table. Okay, I'm going to chuck up the largest diameter roundover bit that I have and apply a roundover on 3 sides of one face of this. So this is one face, this is one face. Pick the bad face, don't worry about it. The good face, I'm going to apply a roundover on the 2 short sides as well as the long side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the larger glued up pieces. So let's get this router bit installed and apply a roundover. Okay, everything is sanded and rounded over. The roundovers are going to be the top. The non-rounded edge is going to be the bottom. I'm going to apply some stain to these. In my opinion, since we're going to be painting the other pieces white, the dark walnut is the best color for this. If you go too dark with like an ebony stain, it can almost just appear black, and at that point you may be better off to paint it. But the dark walnut is dark enough where it provides some good contrast. So I have a foam brush. I'm using the Minwax wood finish stain in the dark walnut color. I'm going to stain everything that is visible right now, meaning every face except for the bottom. Again, the bottom you're not really going to see. So let's get some stain on the two 16-inch long pieces. And I mention this in almost every single video that I do, my method for staining. So what I typically do is just apply stain liberally, meaning a lot, almost like a flood coat, if you will. And then as long as you move fairly quick with that, you can come back through and quickly wipe off the excess to kind of let some of those lighter colors of wood shine through, and it gives it the perfect appearance for what I'm going for. Again, that's just my method. You can do it however you'd like. And on the edges, of course, since it is in grain, the wood will soak up a little bit quicker, so you may have to apply a little bit more stain in those areas in order to get uniform coverage. Once the coat of stain has been applied, again, relatively quickly while it's still wet, we will come in and wipe off the excess. This kind of gives it the appearance that I like, but also it helps it dry a little bit quicker because you're not leaving puddles of stain on the wood. We will sit those aside and let them dry. While the stain is drying, we're going to work on painting our other two kind of L-shaped pieces white. I recommend painting all sides, all edges, all faces of these. So we're going to paint these white. You can use whatever paint you have laying around, basically. I have some latex paint primer all-in-one. This is by Rust-Oleum. You could use a foam brush for this. You could spray it on if you have a spray paint can. And I'm just going to use a bristle brush and go ahead and paint this on. And again, it's rustic style, so it does not have to look perfect. It does not have to look pretty. In my opinion, you can go as fancy or as kind of sloppy as you would like. I do want it to look nice, so I'm going to try to keep my brush strokes kind of going all in the same direction, but certainly not necessary. Now that the stain is dry on the two stair pieces, I'm going to give it a quick coat of polyacrylic clear coat. As you know, I usually do spray lacquer, but figured I'd try something different. So let's give this a quick coat. I'm using a foam brush. We'll just put everything on and let the clear coat dry. And with the clear coat, and especially the white paint on the other pieces, you may have to add multiple coats. Let it fully dry before you do that, and then if you need to, just go back through and add another coat or two more coats or however many you like. Everything is now coated, and for the last time on this project, we will live and let dry. Let it dry overnight. I'll check back in on it tomorrow. Okay, paint and stain has dried. It's actually dried several days because I got busy because life. Now we're going to install these. So naturally, the little one is going to go on the front of the step, just like this, and the big one's going to go on the top. I'm going to leave them to have a little bit of an overhang. So for example, if this is the edge of the stool, I'm not going to do it just like that. I might do like a 1/2 inch overhang or something like that. So you can use anything you want as a spacer. I actually have setup blocks here, which are just pieces of aluminum that are machined to the exact size. I'll leave a link to this whole set you can get off of Amazon, but I'm going to use a 1/2 inch setup block. I'm going to start with the small one, the front step, if you will, the lower step. So we'll get these kind of situated here. And the way I want to do this is to lay the piece on there, hold the setup block on the outside until it bumps the white piece, and it'll be flush against the back that way, and it seems like it's good right there. So once that's in place, as long as it doesn't move, I'm going to use one of these pre-drills with the countersink attachment on it. Again, link down below, you can get them on Amazon, and pre-drill 2 holes that we will use to screw this in. And then naturally come back in with some screws and drive them home. Now that one side's attached, we'll switch to the other side, make sure everything's lined up and kind of square to each other, and make sure we get that even reveal with our 1/2 inch overhang on this side as well. We'll flip this around so I can access the top And again, we did a round over on 3 sides. So the round over I'm going to do towards the front of the stool. And then of course the back should just be flush. Check our 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch. And with that, this project is complete. I'm a big guy. In fact, I weigh over 300 pounds, so I'm gonna test this out. I am very confident that it will hold just fine. The reason I even mention that is that if you want an extra layer of protection, you can go back in and cut another brace this length and add it somewhere back here towards the back. You can add multiple braces if you'd like, but I don't think it's needed, and I'm gonna try to prove it right now by standing on this. For the record, it's absolutely rock solid. No creaking, no cracking, didn't even wobble. Good to go, even for someone my size. So just like that, another project is complete. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up to like this video. Thanks for watching. Take care.